Today, continuing our theme on conifer conservation, we're going to look at one of the most exciting conifer, if not botanical stories of the last several decades. That is the discovery of what was considered to be an extinct fossil tree. And the tree standing here behind me is a mature example of Wollemi nobilis, or the Wollemi pine. This fascinating tree was discovered in 1994, about 150 kilometres north of Sydney in Australia. This is an extraordinary find to consider that this species has been lying effectively under people's noses for a very, very long time, but had remained hidden. In 1994, a botanist working in this area came across a very unusual tree and wasn't quite sure what it was. Research quickly revealed that this was, in fact, Wollemi nobilis. At that point, this tree species had only existed as a fossil, dating back to about 40 million years. But like many of these ancient fossils, this tree probably goes back a lot further and could in fact be stretching back to about 200 million years in history. Given such a small number of trees, it is essential that a species like this is propagated urgently, because 100 trees is very, very small. Any damage by fire or pathogen, whatever the case may be, could really wipe out this species. So around that time in the late 90s, Sydney Botanic Gardens took on an international program of propagation of this magnificent species here behind us, and they disseminated plants all around the world to botanic gardens and so on. Now the species is widely available even within the nursery trade. So those 100 plants are now existing in many, many thousands of gardens around the world, and it's not necessarily improving the conditions in its natural habitat, but it is safeguarding the plant for the future. The specimen you're looking at here was planted in JFK in 2005, and it's now reached this magnificent scale here, probably between 7 to 8 meters. And one of the reasons it's doing so well here is because the conditions at the John F. Kennedy Arboretum are absolutely ideal. So one of the challenges we faced when these plants first came into Ireland in 2005 was that we had planted specimens at Glasnevin in Dublin, Kilmacurragh in Wicklow, and here at John F. Kennedy. But it became apparent quite quickly that the plants at Glasnevin were just not growing as well as the plants at John F. Kennedy Arboretum and Kilmacurragh. And one of the reasons was that the conditions there, the environmental conditions at Glasnevin, are not ideal. It's too dry, the soil is alkaline and free draining, so clearly the species does not enjoy that type of environment. So we made the decision a number of years ago to lift the plants at Glasnevin, transfer them down here to JFK, and we're very happy to say that the plants that were struggling in Dublin are now thriving down here on this site. And that does show you the advantage and the benefit of the Office of Public Works owning and managing a whole range of different sites across the country, because these different environmental conditions allow us to grow a much wider range of plants than we would if we were restricted to one site. Following on from this species discovery in 1994 and the dissemination of all of those plants around the globe, further analysis was done on the 100 existing plants in the Wollemi Gorge. And at that time it was considered that, or thought at least, that those 100 plants were simply clones of one another, so lacking any particular genetic diversity. But genetic analysis revealed in the following years that there was 6 unique genetic types occurring in that gorge. So this is very important for plant conservation. You're trying to maximize genetic diversity and therefore build up resilience in your populations. So Sydney Botanic Gardens a number of years ago embarked on a program of propagating each of those 6 unique genetic types, and they successfully propagated several hundred of these specimens and took on a program of distributing those 6 unique types to a number of botanic gardens around the world, 28 of them being in Europe. Now we're very, very lucky in Ireland to have received 2 sets of these 6 unique genotypes. Here at the John F. Kennedy Arboretum, we received 6 in 2023, and our sister garden in Kilmacurragh Botanic Gardens received another 6 of the same genotypes. The project was managed in Europe by 𝘯𝘰𝘭𝘮𝘮 in southern England. 𝘯𝘰𝘭𝘮 received these plants from Australia. They kept them at 𝘯𝘰𝘭𝘮 under quarantine for a certain number of months to ensure there was no pests or so on being brought into Europe. Once 𝘯𝘰𝘭𝘮 were happy with that, plants were then disseminated. So in 2023, I had the pleasure of driving over to 𝘯𝘰𝘭𝘮𝘮 and collecting these 12 plants for our sites in Ireland. 6 for the John F. Kennedy Arboretum here, and 6 for the Kilmacurragh Botanic Gardens. So we are now the only sites in Ireland to contain these unique genotypes. So we do represent a very, very important ex situ collection, and we are feeding into what is termed a global meta collection. This is vital for the conservation of this species. With recent bushfires in Australia, pathogens coming into these areas, there is a real threat to this species in the wild. So our collections here, collections in the UK and across Europe, are really a vital part of the global conservation of this species. So in light of the success of this project and the importance globally of this meta collection at the site here at John F. Kennedy Arboretum, we decided to invite the Australian ambassador to Ireland, the Honourable Gary Gray. Gary came here in November 2023 for a ceremonial planting of one of these unique genotypes. And we're very happy to say that this plant is alive and well, and we look forward to seeing it growing in the coming years. So we look forward to having you here at our events this week, and we hope, like us, that you build and you develop your appreciation for these wonderful trees.